All right, everybody, it's Steve with Real Progressives. I tried to insert a video clip in there so that you all could hear it. Didn't work out. We'll work on that. I'm still working through this. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that's very important to me. Maybe it'll be important to you. I hope it is. That is that, we've been operating in a kind of like a no man's land for a long time now with third-party groups, from the Green Party to Movement for a People's Party to working within the Progressive Independent Party. And we've, been involved with things with Socialist, Alternative, you name it. But obviously, we've also been involved with things with the Democratic Party when it comes to the progressive side of that. The folks that have chosen the Dem Enter strategy, we've worked with folks in the Justice Dems and others, and brand new Congress along the way. And what I've come to find is that, this whole gang wants to be a part of something together. We really do. We all want to be a part of this. But we've gone into our little bunkers of, team first mindset, hey, this is my group, that's your group, and never the two shall meet. So, I was in another group, and I'm not going to mention them right now because I'm hoping that I can prevail upon them before I start making different decisions in my support and where I go with things. But I have been extremely vocal for the last 4 years in terms of what it is that I'm fighting for, which is a New Deal. I've been fighting for a New Deal since you all have ever heard who I am. I mean, I have never done anything other than that from day one. And so here we are. I'm looking around and I realize that, it's going to take all of us to do this, but everybody doesn't have the same priority. Okay. Everyone is not sharing the same set of priorities, and that the priority varies in terms of whether they're more focused on building their party, whether they're more focused on making a statement about the other party, or whether or not they are just about policy first. Now, the folks that I care to be around, they really are policy first people. They're really about, going and advancing the ball, movement based, right? You have to excuse my cough tonight. But honest to goodness, the idea that we're sitting here in 2019, almost 2018, 2019, and, we're balkanizing even more. And we're watching Group A really, really, really pull further away because they really want to carve out their little piece of turf. And Group B really pulling over here saying they want to carve out their piece of turf. And then they come up with, well, I don't want to support the Democrats because the Democrats are corrupt and the Democrats have oil money and all this stuff. And I get it. Hey, man, we've been saying this from day one. I mean, you can look through our history and see we slammed the taste out of Hillary Clinton's mouth. There wasn't any kind of a gentle approach there. No, we were steadfast, and we remain steadfast. No neoliberals. So what makes the modern situation just a little bit different? I'll tell you what makes it a little bit different. What makes it a little bit different is that we have people that are actually fighting for a New Deal. They have people actually saying the right things. Now, mind you, there's a chasm, monstrous chasm of difference between doing what you say and saying what you say. And we know that. We've always known that. And that's going to be the same with third parties. And that's going to be the same with the duopoly. And I want to say for the record, if you come to me and you know that my support is contingent on you supporting proper economics, because I'm not going to support a shit third party that doesn't know economics. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I won't do it. Hashtag never will do it. You have shit economics, your shit, I can't hang with you. We're done. There's nothing to talk about unless you're willing to fix that. Okay? And so when I'm looking at this, because the reason for that is there is no New Deal with shit economics. There is no Medicare for all or a national health service with shit economics. There's no saving the planet or saving us from destruction without knowing economics, period. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It's one of those facts. The world's burning. It doesn't matter. Folks, we got to find the extinguisher, and the extinguisher is understanding economics. And so for me, these are like the non-starters. This is who I am. This is who we've been. This is what we do. It's unequivocal. It's staying put. But I'll work with anybody that's fighting for the same causes. Doesn't mean that I'll support them, but I'll work with them. If you're, as long as you're advancing the ball in the right direction, I'll work with you. Man, oh man. So I want you to think about this. Let's just say hypothetically, the only way that we're ever going to get a New Deal is if either A, the Democrats help us do it, B, suddenly an insurgency, like a tsunami of third-party people get elected to Congress, and only third-party people are suddenly now in Congress, so we can pass a New Deal using only third-party people. Or we don't get a third party, we don't get a New Deal, and we just end up with more Republican or neoliberal lefty, fake lefty shit. That's it, right? Let's say that's the world of choices we have. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't leave us any choices. At the end of the day, there are no choices there. So what you're really saying, because this has got to be truthful here, right? We can't lie. We can't fake like we're for a New Deal. We can't fake like we're wanting health care for people. We can't fake that anymore. We're not allowed to fake it, not without me calling your ass out. If you say you're for health care, somebody's got to vote for the goddamn bill. You don't get to just wish it into existence, folks. Sorry. Grow up, Peter Pan, Count Chocula. You don't get to wish it into existence. It's got to happen somehow. How is it happening? It's a question you have to ask yourself. It's not hard to answer, but I'm going to leave it for you to talk about it amongst yourself in between your ears for a little bit and think about how does Medicare for all come to be? Do you get a fortune cookie and cash it in at some freaking local 5 and dime and they give you like a lottery ticket that gives you Medicare for all? No. Somebody's got to vote for the goddamn thing. So that means you either A, have to sweep a majority in Congress and the Senate to ever pass it, since you're not going to work with the Democrats. You've already determined you will not work with the Democrats, period. If you're not going to work with them, then at least admit you have no intention of helping anyone get health care, period. Admit that you don't care if we get health care. It's okay, but don't lie anymore. Be honest. Tell the truth. Tell the truth that you have no interest. You want to build your party. And if that's your priority, that's your right. But I'm not going to let you hide. You're not going to pretend like you're for health care for all. You don't get to do that anymore. It's okay. Just be who you are. Let the freak flag fly. Don't tell me you believe in climate change and you're terrified about the destruction of the planet if you're not willing to at least implore the Democrats and fight against the bad Democrats and work toward legislation when you're not in power. But if you're just going to sit on the sidelines and fold your arms and march in the streets, and call that, I'm telling you right now, you've got to be part of this, whether you're in power or not. And that means you got to do everything you can to influence legislation. I mean, this is not hard. That's the worst part. This is the part that makes me crazy. It's not hard to get this. It's not hard to get this at all. You got to literally choose not to get this to not get this. Now, my favorite example of this is Richard Nixon passed the Environmental Protection Agency. I assure you, Tricky Dick, the crook, wasn't sitting there campaigning on a green planet. He wasn't campaigning on cleaning up the environment. A Tricky Dick was freaking pressured by people that were his diametrical opposite to make shit happen. So why in the world would people sit on the sidelines and say, hey, man, you got to prove your mettle. I'm not sitting there. I'm not helping. It's not a matter of helping. Do you understand? It's not a matter of helping. It's a matter of forcing them to do it. It's a matter of making sure that you're right there up in their grill saying, hey, I'm going to support you when you're right because, damn it, I need to make sure you keep doing it. But when you're wrong, be prepared to get a savate kick right in the chin because I'm not backing down. That's what a third party that's not in power, that has zero elected officials, should be doing. I was talking about the unemployment offices the other day, and I was talking about how they purposely unfund or defund or underfund these services and underfund the buildings and keep them dilapidated for a reason. They want them to fail because when they fail, they can prove that they need to privatize it. They can also make you feel like such shit that you'll do anything under the sun to avoid going in them. I hate to believe that third parties, in an effort to gain membership, would purposely make something fail, or at least do their dead level best to make something fail, to build their numbers, versus stand for the policies that they stand for, no matter who gets it. It's funny, because if we want to end fossil fuel industry, this, that, and the other, it's probably going to take a couple Republicans to pass that. It's probably going to take a couple Republicans to help vote that through. It's probably going to take a couple Democrats to vote that through. Now, my question to you is this. How do you build coalitions with these parties, mind you, because they're the ones voting? Folks, They're the ones freaking voting. I'm not telling you to Dem enter. I'm not telling you to Republican enter. Do not be thick. I'll shame and embarrass you for that one. I will pull out the full metal shame-a-thon on you. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not saying to be all cuddle-uddle with the friggin' establishment. Don't you dare lie. I will embarrass and shame the shit out of you if you lie about that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that even when the enemy is sitting at the table, when you have to negotiate a truce, so to speak, when you have to negotiate a treaty, when you have to negotiate the end of a war, when you have to negotiate whatever, even when they're your enemy, even when they've killed thousands of your citizens, your brothers and sisters in a war, and you have to negotiate a treaty, guess what? You got to do it here too. You got to do it here too. Hello. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez hasn't even, she hadn't even been sworn in yet. I think it's January 3rd, something like that. She's already stirred the pot and got things going on this Green New Deal. I got to tell you, I went to New Jersey and I presented at the Green Party annual meeting. And many of the old timers there, the national delegates and stuff, literally got up and walked out when I presented on MMT and how to fund a Green New Deal. Folks, it doesn't sound to me like they were willing to learn. Doesn't sound like they were willing to work together. Doesn't sound like they were willing to take that step. Now, there were Greens that stayed. That room was packed, thank God. So this is not an indictment on the Green Party. There's a guy out there, every time I critique these people, he thinks suddenly that I'm critiquing the entire party. I am not. So never let him lie either, right? Because that would make him a liar, right? A liar, mega liar. But the people that stayed listened intently. But there were people that smelled like mothballs that got up and left. And they accosted me in the hallway, talking about all this non sequitur stuff, right? Yeah, they were acting very proud, very indignant. And I'm sitting there trying to tell them how they can make their Green New Deal come to be instantly, like that. They didn't register. There was no interest whatsoever. And when talking to the others, they say, well, you know, Steve, we got to implement the NEED Act before we can go ahead and do a Green New Deal. So you have no interest in supporting a Green New Deal until you've instituted the NEED Act, which does away with the non-existent fractional reserve system that ended in 1934. So all of our lives are in limbo, waiting for you to end the non-existent fractional reserve system that ended in 1934 again. Folks, we got somebody in office fighting for a Green New Deal, regardless of how it got going. You know, I mean, this is really frustrating to me. I mean, it should be frustrating to you too. I mean, this is the stuff that should make you go apoplectic. These should be allies. These are people you should want to partner with. But instead, they're recalcitrant. It's like you go Green New Deal, they suddenly say, I'm a hardcore Marxist and I don't listen to anybody else. Democratic socialism is just putting a Band-Aid on capitalism. Fuck you. I'm an eco-socialist now. 5 minutes ago, I was a Marxist. Now I'm an eco-socialist. Instantaneously, I walked through a warp and voila, I got a new label I get to call myself. Another freaking way to divide again, right? And then you got these other parties, no joke, that are saying, you know what? We're going to go ahead and do some environmental disrupt stuff out there. We're going to go ahead and focus on public banks. They don't understand banking, obviously. we're not going to go ahead and contribute this because, you know, we want to give the Green Party a chance. Well, hey, Green Party, we've been hooking you up. We've been working with you. You have no interest in doing a Green New Deal because you're focused on gaining electoral power. Well, we got 12 years. So now what? Seriously, now what? Now what? These moments should be absolutely gripping you because you realize that they're telling you they had no intention of actually fighting for a Green New Deal because unless they're the ones in office. Now, mind you, what if they have one or two candidates in office? Would they still fight against this Green New Deal? Since they didn't get any of them in there, what are they doing? When do we get a Green New Deal? Will it only be possible when they run for office and actually get elected and then we have a Green New Deal? Is that the answer? It's marketing without, it's not even a wish list. It's not even a wish list if they're not willing to do it. You've got to have coalition. You've got to have the votes. You got to have the votes. So, in my mind, when you're not in power, you've got to take the role of the activist. And that means you can't just not focus on policy because if the bad guys you don't like that are going to hurt your electoral process will suddenly gain some credibility because they win because they pass a bill that you help force through. Well, that's just not an acceptable answer to me. That's not an acceptable answer. I don't want to suffer needlessly so you can quote unquote build your party. If you're building your party to give me policies, that's an entirely different thing. That's an entirely different thing. I support Movement for a People's Party. Their platform, with the exception of I don't know why they added it, but they added a UBI. They added all this spongy logic about public banks and stuff like that. But aside from that, platform's pretty freaking solid. I like it. It's better than anything I've seen. Greens added a bunch of wonky stuff that I don't think was well baked, but whatever. They both have things that I really support a lot. And if they got the econ right, and if they weren't petulant and going off in their corners, and they were freaking working to get legislation, I don't have 40 years to wait for them to gain electoral power. And for whatever reason, they haven't made the kind of inroads to being able to affect actual legislation today, other than as the role of the activist. As organized opposition, whatever, but why not be organized towards the purposes that you've set forward, which are your platform? Or are you trying to protect your platform so it's only you that advance it when you get in office? Think about what I'm saying. Folks, I'm asking you, think about what I'm saying. Do you have to have 30% of your team elected to office before you consider it you won your platform? Do you have to have 50% elected officials, all your party, before you'll consider it? 10%? How many elected people from your party? And if you're not running candidates yet, really think about this. If you're not even running candidates yet, at what point in time do you support your own platform? Or is it just marketing copy up there? Is it just marketing copy? I'm serious. Think about what I'm saying. I'm not slamming. I want to be real clear. I'm a human being here. I've got children. I've got chronic illnesses out the ass. I'm looking around and I'm saying, who are my allies? An ally to me isn't saying, Grumbine, just die already. Because I'm here to fight too, for whatever it's worth. And with whatever I've got in my, in my stable, in my arsenal of tools here, I'm willing to fight. So what is it that prevents? Now, mind you, listen, the Democrats will screw this up. I assure you they will. Because there's enough corporate centrist bastards in there. They're on the take. They're going to try and water it down, turn it into a shit show. And it's up to us to be there, keeping a watch on that and fighting to help get the right legislation through. Because guess what? If they pass this stuff, if they pass any stuff, it doesn't matter whether you liked it or not. You'll be ruled by it. You'll be governed by it. You'll be held to the laws they pass. Wouldn't it be good to step up and be heard? Wouldn't it be good to be part of that? Now, I'm not talking about being, locking arms with homie here. I'm talking about being an agitator in the right way, contributing to ensure that they stay the course, hold their feet to the fire. And let me ask you a question. If you say, I'm for a Green New Deal, well, I'm for a Green New Deal too. All right, well, until the roads diverge, I'm with you. And all of a sudden now, the Democrats start doing this rightward shift. Is there any better marketing copy for come join our party than we stayed the course, man? They left. They went off over here in the neoliberal land, and we kept staying the course. What could be a better advertisement for bringing a real progressive into your party? But just going like this, well, no, not going to do it. Yeah. Not exactly what I mean, or better yet, let me put my mask on. Let me put my mask on and, go run around. I mean, folks, okay. I know folks are looking over there at France and saying, now there you go. Let's get some vests. Let's get some masks. Let's do what we do, yo. Let's go on out there and make a ruckus. And that's probably going to end up happening. But just like any due diligence that anybody should do in any aspect of their life, why not help advance this? Because think about this. This is the most important thing I'm going to say tonight. It may not seem like it, but it is. 40 plus years of neoliberalism has polluted our minds. It has made most people, and I'm talking about good people that you know and love, think that we can't have nice things. Most Americans still believe that the U.S. government is broken. It can't do anything decent for us. I would say better than 80% believe it. And that's just a non-scientific guess. But if you're an Uber driver, ask your passengers, have you ever heard of MMT? I guarantee you're going to get a lot of dull stares and nope. What is that, some sort of drug? Is it a cult? But what I'm saying to you is this. Most people don't understand that the government can't go broke. So most people are still living under the idea that it's all hopeless. We're never going to get what we need. We're never going to survive this. It's all hopeless. Somebody's got to be the hope bearer. Somebody's got to bring some hope. Somebody's got to turn on their hope light. Somebody's got to do something other than this, because this is not working. This is shit. And so when you have someone like AOC show up, you want to prove she's a fraud? If you think she's a fraud, let's play this game. Let's ride this puppy through. Let's do this. Somebody says, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a fraud, man. She's a fraud. You're like, oh, what can you prove? Well, she said that John McCain was a great hero. Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people said that because they were doing the colloquial bullshit, the freaking, Okay, not making whatever. I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just telling you that's the deal. Well, then she said she was going to support Pelosi after she blah, blah, blah. Oh, I freaking can't stand Pelosi. Okay. And I don't believe she can either. But because she's not even a freshman yet, she hasn't even been sworn in yet, and she's being put on the spot for who's going to be the Speaker of the House, and she's trying to figure her way out as a freshman, and she's got every friggin' Tom, Dick, and Fox News Harry after her ass, including our supposed allies. I'm just spitballing here, but I don't think she wants her political career to end before it begins. Maybe she's trying to keep some of her powder dry for a Green New Deal. I don't know. What do you think, Chauncey? But that notwithstanding, what better way to prove Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is either the real deal or a fraud than sitting there riding shotgun with her and going, I'm watching you. I'll help you when you're right, man. We'll bash through that wall over there together. But you screw up, we're going to be right there to stomp on you. What better way to do that? What better way to do that? I mean, to me, it's like the only way to pull this off is and to prove that they're frauds when they say bold things. I mean, take a look at Beto. Beto O'Rourke, it's already proven he is like a super duper fraud. He is just totally not a progressive at all. I mean, he's like out there, I don't think I'm progressive. I don't know, man. I'm not progressive. I'm not joining the progressive caucus. I'm just, hey, let me go ahead and break that oil, that oil, the no oil money pledge I took. Let me go ahead and host a oil thing. Let me go do this, that. I mean, the guy is a true neoliberal. He was a Clinton superdelegate. Whatever, man. Now, could he change? Sure, I guess anybody can change. Am I putting any money on it? Absolutely not. Will I support him? Absolutely not. What if they call him a progressive? I'll get pretty fucking pissed because he's not. He's a good old centrist, friggin' new Democrat, third way Democrat, just like Bill Clinton and Obama. You could even say W, quite frankly. The same exact thing. No, I'm not supporting him. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a little different. And so you think to yourself, in order to prove she's a fraud, because she's saying all the right things, minus a few things that you do, the check boxes that you do. Okay. She's doing. So the way to get through this Green New Deal thing and prove that they're going to just be corporate hacks and prove that they're going to be frauds and prove this and prove that and all the other hyperbolic statements that are made in advance of the Nostradamus statements that are made before it's even come to be. You ride shotgun and you say, you do that whole meet the parents thing, and you ride close and you keep an eye. And you don't go freaking out every time somebody says hi to somebody, because people say hi to people all the time that don't like each other. Trust me, I say hi to a lot of people I can't stand. Not because I want to freaking be BFFs with them, but because I just don't have time to fuck around. Hey, how's it going? Go on. What up, yo? A Green New Deal hasn't even fully been defined yet. I got to tell you, I look at the job program as part of this, and I say, please don't conflate good paying, career level, green jobs that would be very, very high paying, that would put significant money in the pockets of labor. Do not conflate that with the transitional job guarantee that MMT proposes, because that is the wage floor. Why in the world would you want to guarantee green jobs at the wage floor? Why wouldn't you want them to be competitive so that you really raise the bar with the private sector, so the private sector is constantly looking to see how they can beat the public sector? In order to hire me out of here, you got to beat those rates. Why in the world would you conflate the job guarantee, which is the wage floor, with career level and professional level jobs? Now, I'm not saying anybody's doing that. I'm just trying to clear the air that the government can afford these great jobs. It can. And we've got to stop being bitch asses about government employees getting a good pay. Because I tell you right now, when you pay somebody good, you get the cream of the crop. It may sound sexy in some, bad novel with the pages all browned from aging, but there's no glory in poverty. There's no glory in being underpaid. There's no glory in having your soul sucked out of you for less than you deserve. And you're probably not going to bust your ass for somebody when you don't feel like it's really your job to bust your ass for somebody. When it's kind of baked into the system that there's an intention for it to suck a little bit bad, a little bit worse than before. You don't want this program to succeed. If it succeeds, everybody will use it, damn it. We got to control costs because, the country's broke. Folks, third parties need to be a part of this solution. They need to be weighing in. They need to not be sitting there on the sidelines. And they need to not resort to just being the resistance. They also need to be the negotiators and prove to regular Americans that they can govern. Where else are you going to get the opportunity to prove you can govern than to force your way into these rooms and force your way into negotiating? Go in there as a block with 100 of your reps. They can't deny you. And if they do deny you, it'll be on video. Don't go in there with the intention of setting it up and being an asshole and seeing if you can get kicked out so you can get the good footage. Go in there trying to legitimately alter the conversation. Button up. Show up. Put your business face on. Be part of the solution. We may not have the ability to have third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh parties and really, really govern in that way. But we can create in lieu of that in the meantime while we're working on trying to infiltrate these parties, get enough votes to get them. By the way, they got to vote to open the door for third parties. You know that? I don't know if you knew that, but they do. And that means you got to care about the electoral process, whether you're in power or not, right? It's just, oh God, it's maddening. Absolutely maddening. In any event, you go in there, game face on, list the demands in hand, follow the rules, raise your hand. Do everything the right way to start with. Leave no stone unturned. And then document what you've done. And that way, when you call bullshit, you can say, I have been right there with you every step along the way, watching, contributing when I can, only to see you now taking petroleum money, only now to see you caving in on, Medicare for all and calling it, whatever, only now to see you doing this. That's the way you create credibility outside the duopoly. Yeah, sure. You get some ragtag group of people that are ready to throw Molotovs if you can get edgy enough. And great, man. If that's all you're aspiring to be, please let me know now. I can go ahead and move on and create something else. For real. But if you really want to prove you can govern, if you really want to prove you've got the best ideas, work in a de facto alliance. I'm not telling you to caucus with them. I'm not telling you to become, I'm telling you to show up and be heard. Participate. And get enough energy to make it so that they can't wiggle out and do it the wrong way. I'm telling you, folks, we saw what they did in 2015, 2016. And we've seen what they've done ever since then, placing the lies and all the propaganda out there to give air cover to Hillary and to provide this almost nonstop hate meal of feasting on Donald Trump. The guy's an asshole. He's a horrible guy. But there's a lot more there, man, for anybody that's smart and woke at all. I mean, the slightest bit of awakeness. You realize that the propaganda machine, this stuff is really corrosive. You got to stay vigilant and not cave into it. But that doesn't mean you take your eyes off the prize. The prize is you want your kids to have health care, whether it's Richard Nixon coming back tan, rested, and ready, or whether it's Bubba Clinton somehow or another getting a third term, or whether it's Obama, or whether it be W. Whether Bob Dole comes back from, whatever. It doesn't make our money, baby. Our money suddenly, it doesn't matter. The goal here is to fight like hell, create enough energy, and when they screw up, be right there, be so close to it that you can implode that thing. But just sitting out on the sideline throwing rocks, I don't know, man. Maybe that feels good. Maybe there's some, I don't know, some nobility in that, but it's not effective in my mind. The only thing it's doing is guaranteeing that there won't be enough energy to do the things we need to do to survive. Those representatives, if you're in District 6 or whatever, District 3 of whatever, I hate to break it to you, they're your representatives. So you've got a choice to be a part of influencing your representatives. When you're not in power, guess what you are? You're a citizen. When you're a citizen, guess what you are? Responsible for pushing back on your representatives. To infiltrate, if you will, if that's your term, or just participate, which is the one I prefer at this point. Participate and make damn sure your demands are heard. And it's not good enough just to make demands. You got to show up and be part of things. I'm not talking, again, if I have to repeat it again, I'll do it 100 times. I am not telling you to Dem enter, green enter, blue enter, red enter. I'm not telling you to enter shit. I'm telling you to be a part of your process. Be a part of your community's governance. Be a part of the state governance. Be a part of your national governance. And that means being part of crafting legislation even when you're not in power. Do I believe the Democrats will screw this up? Beyond the shadow of a doubt. Do I believe it's only because the Democrats are just bought and paid for? Nope. I believe they're going to have the help of the progressive movement, the people that are too cool for school, that'll check out and will not in any way, shape, or form help get the energy going that I feel is part of their job. Not because they support Democrats. God, I'll keep saying it. But because we want to change society, we want to make it better. But if you prove that your goal is to make it worse, to enhance your chances of building your party, well, I don't have a whole lot of good to say about that. I really don't. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing that happened here recently, and I'm really on the fence with which way to go with this. I have been very much against a constitutional convention for a long time. Why is that? Well, there's bipartisan support. Actually, there's even tripartisan support, if you consider the Greens, who think the national debt is unsustainable. It's absolutely economically illiterate. The Democrats are absolutely full metal stupid on this. The Republicans couldn't be much more dumb if they tried. And the Greens, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. They got opportunity to not think that way, and they're still thinking that way. So I don't know what to say there. It's in section M of their national platform. Look it up. So you've got three major parties right there. And of course, libertarians, it's like everything government's bad. So I don't even talk about them. But all of them think that. Now, fancy them going to a constitutional convention with a balanced budget amendment on the table. A balanced budget amendment is economic suicide, and it's economically illiterate. It's the dumbest thing. You got to be like dull as spoons trying to carve a turkey with a friggin' butter knife. That level of stupid to want a balanced budget amendment. Or that level of ignorant, I should say, because there's a lot of smart people that want a lot of stupid things. But that right there is el numero uno, number one bipartisan goal of going into a constitutional convention, followed closely behind by some desire for the end of Citizens United, which sounds noble on its face until you realize the Koch brothers and gang have been praying to God. They've been working stealthily, hardcore, as you've seen, as they've gerrymandered every state, on winning state houses, of winning governorships. And by winning so many governorships, they've got kind of control of the roost here, don't they? And if they were to call a constitutional convention, rest assured they've got a lot of things they'd like to see achieved. And they've been planning for this. I mean, folks, they've been licking their chops, hoping that progressives or liberals or whoever get a little cocky, thinking that they know what's going on, because they have been planning this for ages. Ages. They're begging you. They're looking at like, do you think they're going to get a constitutional convention? I hope these dumbasses do it. God, please let them do it. That's what they're doing. Because they know exactly what they want to do. And it ain't in our best interest at all. So I'm in this kind of limbo land, because I understand that Citizens United blocks so much of our ability to get things done. If we only look at it from that angle, I look at it differently. I have a different perspective, but I understand the impetus behind focusing on that. But ultimately, there are powers that are far more organized than we are. And we don't want to get organized. We like our little piece of turf. We like being recalcitrant over here, trying to end the non-existent fractional reserve system. We like our identity politics over here. We don't want to talk about this other stuff. Too divided to organize. Republicans have a simple message, and they're all in one trough. It should scare the shit out of you. It should. I don't know if it will or not, but it should. But I do understand the concern and the desire to end Citizens United. I share in that. And were we not staring down the barrel of an incredible amount of evil that's waiting around that bend? I might even be more sympathetic to it. But until I see the left stop being utterly moronic about economics and start understanding the nation can't go broke, and stop talking about balanced budget amendments, and stop worrying about the friggin' stupid national debt, which is nothing but a bunch of savings accounts paid for with already existing US dollars, for God's sakes. Or the deficit, which is just simply the difference between the amount taxed and the amount spent in a given year that resets to zero every year. It's an annual thing. It's like, whoa, you want people that think that they're so screwed on that to freaking make an economic decision? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You open up Pandora's box with a bunch of debt hawks and deficit hawks, and we are screwbarred, buddy. I mean, we went from bad to absolutely worse. There is no fixing the environment then, my friends. Now you really put a death nail into us all. And they'll get a nice little golf clap out of it. Yeah. Yeah. These are very, very important things to know. You got to think it through. You got to use your noodle. And there's a lot of energy to do bad things. I mean, I think of it like this. I hate this, but I think of it like this. If you ever saw the movie Old School with Will Ferrell, Will Ferrell's running through, he grabs the microphone from Snoop Dogg. Everybody, we're going streaking through the quad. And there goes Will Ferrell. Everybody's doing it, babe. Come on. Looks back and it's like, oh shit. Ain't nobody over there, is there? That's what I think people that aren't really digging this stuff don't get. They think that they're got this huge following ready to go end the Federal Reserve. And they got this huge following ready to end the non-existent fractional reserve system. And they don't realize that climate change ain't slowing down for nobody. It ain't slowing down for nobody. Nope. It ain't taking 5 minutes. Oh, hey, climate change. Time out. I'd like to talk about this with some people. Okay. Be right back. Hell no, man. It's keep coming. It's going to keep coming. And so we got 12 years to figure this stuff out. So while people want to get diverted with this and get diverted with that and go solve a bunch of other problems that don't have anything to do with that, our job has got to be to communicate this stuff and be involved in the legislative process, because it really, truly affects us all. Now, remember, 12 years between now and when cataclysmic stuff starts happening. That's not the 12 years when we, come up with a solution. That's 12 years that we have already better have implemented it, and it better be already knocking down that carbon footprint big time. So you got to do something in algebra called order of operations. Do you do the division first? Do you do the multiplication first? Do you do the stuff inside the parentheses first? Do stuff outside the parentheses first? What do you do with the things on this side of the equal sign? And if you don't understand order of operations, you're going to be adding and subtracting before you do your multiplication and division. And we're going to end up with the wrong answer to the right question, but the wrong answer. I don't know how to say it more than that. I want to see third parties effective. I really do. I want to see third parties effective. And I want to see activists not wasting their lives activating on things that are a freaking energy bleed and focused on the right things. And when I say the right things, it's not the right things according to Steve. I mean, whatever they end up being, I want them understanding that the limited time we have available to us to really make a difference should be spent on things founded in truth and founded in the full picture so that we actually make a difference, not in half-truths that make a narrative that we enjoy reading about in our favorite alternative media. It's got to be truth-based. If it's not truth-based, we're not getting anywhere. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hate to see us gaslight ourselves within the movement just to kind of build electoral power. What good's your electoral power if we don't have, the ability to survive on the planet, or if Florida's wiped out, or, all of a sudden some algae kills off half the sea life and now we're dead. I mean, think about it, man. I'm not an alarmist at all, man. I truly am not. I stay in my economic lane. I only know enough about the environment to get myself in trouble. Bill McKibben doesn't know shit about economics, but I believe the man's a genius when it comes to the environment. I trust him for the environment. I trust Kelton for the economics. Put them together, and I think we got a plan. And both of them support this effort for a Green New Deal. Bill McKibben supports the efforts for a Green New Deal. Who are you to go against Bill McKibben on this? I can see you going against him on the econ, but he's not an economist. He's an environmental guy. So think about it. Think about what I'm saying. You're going to have to make some choices here soon, folks. You're going to have to make some choices. You're going to have to make some choices, and they're going to be tough choices. You know, they have a saying, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes good has got to be good enough, because to get this wrong, the cost of getting this wrong is so outrageous, you wouldn't believe it. And it impacts all of us. It's not like just it impacts me. It impacts everybody. These are good people in all these parties. I mean, they're actually trying to make a difference. How many people do you know that aren't even paying attention to politics? So even if they're misguided, give them credit because they care. Now, I say misguided simply because I understand the economics of this whole thing, and I'm pretty good at timelines. And I know that you have only so much political powder in the keg, unless your intention is just to burn it all down. And if that's the case, how long is it going to take you to build it back up? And when I say build it back up, I'm not talking about where it is today. I'm talking about so that it's sustainable, blah, blah, blah. You didn't understand economics to begin with, or you would have done it differently. So that means that I can't guarantee you're going to fix it properly. I don't know that burning it down is going to save us. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that don't have the ability to take care of themselves, that can't go off and plant a good raised garden. They can't go out there and eat berries and nuts. They can't put their own sutures in using hemp, string. That are handy capable, that are having all kinds of problems, have health issues, that are sitting there hoping to God we solve the healthcare problem in America, but instead, we're not doing anything about it. Folks, I'm telling you right now, I'll fight with my own mother. Right is right. I'm not deviating. I'm not deviating because there's too much at stake for getting this thing wrong. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this thought, and I hope that it sticks with you. I'm not telling you have to agree with me, but this is truly the musings of a guy who believes he's been fighting really, really hard for a long time and like to see some results. Okay. If you have good policies that you support, that means you should be able to influence the other team, whether it be the Republicans because you're in power and you guys are negotiating a bill, or whether it be the Democrats, or whether, you follow what I'm saying? You should be able to work together. Now, mind you, you've got a million ugly hurdles to deal with. You've got finance issues. You've got lobbyists. You've got the deep state. You've got all these different things against you. Are you capable of operating and navigating? Or is the only way you're capable of navigating if we burn it down? If that's the case, you need to think about that. If you don't have the capability, the smarts, the know-how, the willingness to fight through the mud that you have to do once you're in power, if your only idea is to burn it down, that's not governing. And that doesn't lead to my son having a happy, healthy, full life. That leads to you making him a sacrificial lamb, and I'm not willing to go there with you. So I'm asking you, think about this. put this into your decision-making process. As a third-party person, your job is to impact things and develop your party, but to impact those that are in power too. That's part of politics. You've got to influence the other guy. And a Green New Deal is on the table. It's getting ready to get advanced. It's going to be bigger than life. It would be really, really good if we tried to influence it to make it even more progressive, not hang out and hope that it fails so that we can attract people and say, see, they did it again. Because they're going to give you that opportunity anyway. Why not try and be part of the deal that makes it the best it can be so we all win? And then we have something to work with. People know why they're abandoning ship. Because whether it's obvious to you, it ain't obvious to them. And right now we do have a first past the post environment. So there's an awful lot of work that's got to be done. Awful lot of work that's got to be done. And you're going to be dependent on those folks voting against the interests that gave them power to begin with. Think about it. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a good day, everyone.